Dear friends, I'm going to begin with a heart-rending story that belongs to 40 years ago, but can never be forgotten because it represents one of the most unsurpassed examples of love and sacrifice in the annals of the history of women throughout the world. 4 decades back, 10 women were arrested and sentenced to death. This was in Shiraz of Iran. And these women were mostly in their 20s. One was below 80. She was a minor. They were followers of the Baha'i religion, a religion that taught all of the religions are fundamentally one, as they all come from a single divine source. The minor one was barely 17 years old. She was arrested and put to death on account of mainly 2 reasons. One, she had written an essay on the topic of the freedom of expression and had read it out in her school class. 2, she had organized a regular weekly class for kids where she taught the virtues like humility, justice, equality, truthfulness, honesty, kindliness, and compassion. When she was arrested, she was given a choice for these so-called crimes. She was given 2 options. She was told to either deny her faith or die. In response, she kissed the rope that was to hang her. She also requested that she be the last to be hanged. And this was on account of her wish to pray for the other 9 so that they would stay strong until the end. Friends, I'm going to share some slides with you now. So these valiant women of Shiraz chose to die for their faith rather than deny it, because their faith was their identity. Today, after 4 decades, we see the women of Iran reflecting the very same spirit of resilience in the face of suffering, injustice, and inequality. So we see that the women of Iran are getting connected through the passage of decades, and their story gets to be one. If we look back farther into time, into the mid-19th century, a milieu where women did not receive any education and their voices were not heard, we see a woman named Tahirih, meaning the pure, who did get an education in her father's library. And in fact, challenged the most learned of men over the most difficult subjects and invariably defeated them. Fearless, undeterred, inspired by the teachings of the Bab, she spearheaded the cause of women's emancipation and did this long before women in the West did. In 1848, she attended a gathering, one which made history, because she performed a symbolic act. She removed the customary veil as a symbol and announced the coming of a new era. The king of Iran, Nasruddin Shah, had fallen in love with Tahirih. She definitely was a prodigy in both brains and beauty. The king sent out a messenger on horseback with a sealed envelope containing his marriage proposal to Tahirih. And not just that, but also a promise to make her the queen of Persia. You see, he had many wives, but there could only be one queen. But he put a condition there. He said she had to give up all of her beliefs. Her belief in the Bab specifically. But would Tahirih do that? Give up her belief and forget all about the Bab and his teachings in exchange for the queen's position? Would she value and cherish a worldly position? Tahirih? Never. So she did something amazing. She picked up a pen quickly and without a single moment of hesitation wrote her response in the form of a poem on the back of the very paper that the king had used to write his message to her. And her response was a definite and an emphatic no. I would like to read her response. A casual translation, my own translation of her response to you. She wrote, "Thou and thy imperial throne and crown, thy kingly treasures and pursuits, me and my earthly poverty and detachment, if that is what thou desirest, be thine. And if this be of no good, let it be mine. Sometime later, Tyre was killed. But on the day when she was put to death, she was exceedingly joyous because she knew she would meet her Lord in the divine words soon. This is a painting of the martyrdom of Tyre. She was strangled to death, but right before being strangled, she said, "You can kill me as soon as you like, but you cannot stop the emancipation of women." So we see how the remote past and how the past, which is not that remote, and then how the present get connected together. Now, to travel to the present now, we see how women are not just treated unequally and unjustly, but also how they are tortured in the most wicked manner. And mostly it is done in the name of honor killing. Of what honor is a father killing his own daughter remains to be one of the most baffling questions. Also, a father sells his own daughter's dead body to a necrophile. Necrophilia is now one of the greatest concerns in the East as well as the West. I'm going to end this presentation with a single quotation on gender equality. This is from Abdul Baha, who was the son of Baha'u'llah, in turn the founder of the Baha'i faith. Sorry, this was left out. This is the picture of a woman who was stoned to death. This is the quotation from Abdul Baha. The world of humanity has two wings. One is woman, and the other is man. Not until both wings are equally developed can the bird fly. Should one wing remain weak, flight is impossible. Thank you very much for your patience.